Good evening and welcome to the January 9th Burbank Parks and Recreation Board meeting. Let's get started with a quick flag salute. Mr. Thompson, roll call.
Chair Ara Masurlian,
Here.
Vice Chair Ashley Ramsey, Board Member Maisha Gamino,
Here.
Board Member Robbie Brody,
Here.
Board Member Mickey DiPaolo.
Here.
Note the absence of Vice Chair Ashley Ramsey.
Thank you. Before we get started, I think everyone here knows what's been taking place in our county and across our neighboring cities. So I think it would behoove us to not at least acknowledge what's been taking place and just really our hearts go out to, all the communities, especially Palisades and Altadena, Pasadena areas. So, and then we've been fortunate in Burbank to not really get hit hard with the fires, although we did have the strong winds, and want to thank our staff here for all the work they've done with the Forestry Service and the trees. And Councilwoman Takahashi was incredibly informative and responsive on social media. So just shows you the type of city we have, keeping us informed, keeping us safe. So we are fortunate in Burbank. Unfortunately, some of our surrounding cities got hit a lot harder. So just wanted to acknowledge that before we get started into our agenda. So with that, we do have some business we need to get into tonight. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Ryan Lipscomb.
Good evening, Chair Ara Masurlian and members of the board. Thank you to everyone joining us this evening. My name is Ryan Lipscomb, Facility Attendant 2 in the Parks and Recreation Department. Tonight I have the pleasure of sharing the department's program, announcements, and updates. Please begin the slideshow. Betsy Luke Creative Arts Center Gallery. Experience the artwork of 3 talented Los Angeles artists at the Betsy Luke Creative Arts Center's newest gallery, There Will Be Color. Join us for the opening reception on Friday, January 10 from 7 to 9 p.m. Admission is free and open to everyone. Visit burbankca.gov/blcac for more information. North Pole Plunge. North Pole Plunge is this Saturday, January 11, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Verdugo Aquatic Facility. Splash around the activity pool, tackle the obstacle course, and warm up with hot chocolate and Burr Bear. Register now at burbankparks.com. Moonlight Hikes. Join us on Friday, January 13, at our next staff-led Moonlight Hikes up to the view. Hike times vary based on sunset times. Visit burbankparks.com to register today. Story Owl Hour. We can't wait to see you at our next Story Owl Hour at Stowe Canyon Nature Center. Children ages 2 to 5 will have a hoot at this month's nature-themed story time. Participants will enjoy a staff-led story and have the opportunity to check out books from a Burbank Library staff member. To register for the story time on January 23rd, visit www.burbankparks.com. Wild Creatures Walk. Our Wild Creatures Walk is a fantastic opportunity for your little ones to learn about wildlife while having fun in the Verdugo Mountains. For all the details and to sign up, visit burbankparks.com. Dig Day. We are seeking volunteers for our next Dig Day on February 1st from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Abraham Lincoln Park. Lend a helping hand by cleaning up litter, weeding, and planting. To learn more and register for this event, visit burbankparks.com. Hikes for Tykes. Join us for a hike in the Verdugo Mountains and nature-themed crafts and activities. This program is intended for parents with toddlers and parent participation is required. To learn more and to register for this event, visit burbankparks.com. Burbank Adaptive Sports Expo. Step into the world of adaptive sports at the 2025 Adaptive Sports Expo. This dynamic expo is taking place at McCambridge Park on February 15th, 2025. Participating sports include adaptive chair yoga, adaptive swimming, beep baseball, and much more. To learn more about this featured sports and to register, visit www.burbankca.gov/base. Join our team. The Parks and Recreation Department is seeking talented individuals to join our team. To view current openings, visit burbankca.gov/PR-jobs. Follow us. Stay in the loop with the latest Parks and Rec updates by connecting with us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you. This concludes the department announcements.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Appreciate it. Next up, we have a special presentation. We'd like to welcome Ms. Erin Barrows.
Good evening, Chair Masurlian and members of the board. It's lovely to see all of you here tonight. My name is Erin Barrows. I'm Recreation Services Manager with the Parks and Recreation Department, and tonight with me is Kim Freed, Recreation Supervisor. The Parks and Recreation Department invites you to celebrate a century of community, parks, people, and purpose. For 100 years, the department has fostered community through various programs, events, and activities. The department's commitment to the community dates to its establishment in 1925. The journey began with the dedication of Viceroy Park, the city's very first park. Today, the department proudly operates 42 parks and facilities that serve the community. As the department reflects on the last 100 years, we continue to focus on our mission statement. Together, we strive to be the heart of the community by providing enriching opportunities through dedicated people, beautiful parks, and inspiring programs. With our mission in mind, we strive to honor our department's legacy, current efforts, and plans for the future. Help us bring the Centennial theme to life. Enter our Centennial photo contest for a chance to see your photo featured on the cover of the 2025 Summer Recreation Guide. Photo submissions will be accepted January 21st to March 1st. Submissions will be accepted online, and to view contest rules and to apply, please visit burbankca.gov/parks100.
We're getting there. Well, I'll start anyways. Let's get ready to celebrate with us by purchasing our limited time Centennial merchandise. These items will feature our special Parks and Recreation Centennial logo. T-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, water bottles, and more will be made available for pre-order or purchase at selected events. View items for sale by visiting burbankca.gov/burbankparks100 later this month. The department's year-long celebration kicks off the month featuring exciting events and kicks off this month featuring exciting events and activities that highlight the various ways the department has positively impacted the lives of Burbank residents from all backgrounds and interests. As we celebrate this important milestone, we encourage the community to get involved in our upcoming events and activities, which have been thoughtfully planned with our community's interests in mind. For information about our Centennial celebration, visit burbankca.gov/parks100. Please follow us on our social media outlets and check the Centennial website regularly for more information about our events, history, merchandise, and more. Help us celebrate a century of parks, people, and purpose. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 100 years. Wow. Good stuff. All right. Let's move on to the Department Director report. I'd like to introduce Ms. Marissa Garcia.
Good evening, Chair Maserly and board members, and I want to thank you all for being out here today. I know there's a lot going on, and we appreciate being able to have today's meeting and hopefully try to get us back to some sense of normalcy. With that, as was Chair Maserly mentioned, we're very grateful that we have not had any fires here in Burbank. However, the winds did significantly impact our entire community, and I'm going to give a very brief overview and update on some of the damage and what our department has been doing since late Monday, essentially. So, as a whole, we in the city have lost 139 trees of various sizes, so from smaller trees as well as several mature trees, including a few Aleppo pine trees that were either failed or were removed due to safety. And we've had nearly 200 reports of large broken branches, which our staff, forestry and landscape, have been working 14 to 16 hours a day to clean as much as we can every day. I also want to mention that we received a lot of valuable support from our colleagues in Public Works who were helping us with clearing roads, inspecting, cleaning up branches and all that. So it really was a team effort to do this, to get our city back to looking normal. And just, I know that there's still, while the city looks fairly good, we do prioritize the removal of trees and branches. Our first priority is absolutely getting our roadways clear and accessible to everybody, primarily our safety. And then we, equally priority is removing any trees from property, obviously any trees on homes, followed by vehicles. So, and then afterwards, we will remove trees and branches as best we can. As I mentioned, our crews have been working up to 16 hours a day, and we have received tremendous support from our contractor. We've had at one point 9 forestry crews in the city, focusing solely on trees. And so while that's a lot of help and support, it's still going to take us many weeks to get us back to normal in the sense of getting our tree cleared from our public right-of-way as well as our parks. I do want to mention that if anybody has wants to report broken branches or trees, we encourage them to use the Our Burbank 311 app, which is 311.burbankca.gov. They can also call during business hours, Monday through Friday, from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. The number is 818-238-5304. And after hours, the number is 818-238-3000. I know that there have also been many private trees, so trees on private property that have failed, damaged, or just, and some of these have been large trees, and I know that as a property owner, sometimes you just don't know what to do. So we advise residents and property owners that have some tree-related issues to contact a private tree trimming company, hire a private tree trimming company, and if there's any damage, we recommend that they contact their insurance. So just for guidance and support on how to handle some of those repairs that might be needed. And then shifting gears, while our landscape and forestry teams, as well as, I will say, our recreation staff and community services staff, have been working to clean our parks, we have a lot of our staff out there raking leaves and trying to help get our parks back to normal. It's still, again, going to take a lot of time to get us to a place where our parks are safe for everybody to enjoy. So we ask for everybody's patience, and we're doing the best we can. And so with that, with the debris as well as the unfortunate air quality that we're all experiencing with all of the fires nearby. This has impacted our facilities as well as our programming. So I'm going to give a brief overview of where we are today. I will mention that we look at this list daily, sometimes a couple of times a day, and we make adjustments accordingly. All of our closures or impacts to programming we notify our community through social media. There is a dedicated webpage on the city's website, which is under High Winds and Red Flag Update. You go to the city's webpage and it's the home screen. And so there's a lot of information, and we encourage residents to get daily information there. If there are some classes, our staff will notify program participants as well, let them know if a class has been canceled. So we do the best we can to ensure that everybody who needs to know about this information is notified. So with that, the following park facilities are closed and will remain closed until further notice. So we have both Wildwood and Stout Canyon Trails are closed. Stout Canyon Nature Center is closed. Verdugo Aquatic Facility, the Valley Skate Park, DeBell Golf Course and Driving Range. Our parks and playgrounds remain closed, but again, there's no way to keep people from our open parks. But again, we don't want folks to be going out into our parks, especially if there's a lot of debris there. Jocelyn Adult Center is open. I think today they were closing early at 8 p.m., as well as Tuttle was closing early today at 2:30. So every day we're adjusting that based on the current conditions. Our after-school days program, our ASD program, has been suspended through the remainder of the week, and that is directly in alignment with the BUSD, who has canceled classes and closed other facilities. We are in close communication with the school district, and so once school is back, we will resume our after-school care program. All of our outdoor recreation classes have been canceled. Our indoor sports leagues games have been canceled. However, our indoor sports league practices are still open. So this is activity in our gyms. And all of our outdoor sports leagues have been canceled. Our tennis center is closed, and the roller hockey rink is also closed. I will also mention that the Burbank Animal Shelter is open. There's limited transactions, and we're adjusting that accordingly. Our priority with the animal shelter are reuniting pet owners with their pets. We're responding to absolutely emergencies. What we have scaled back on are some adoption services, but we're resuming that as quickly as we can. So with that concludes my update. I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, we want to get back to normal. We want to provide the community the services, but we want to do so in a safe manner. So with that, happy to answer any questions you may have. Great.
The only question I had was like the facilities. You said you guys are checking them. So on a day-to-day basis, those lists will be updated when things open?
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. So, for example, like the pool, right? We check that daily, and our plan was to reopen once we're able to clean, because there's a lot of debris, obviously. Then we have the air quality issues. So, again, it's a balance. But yes, all of our facilities are updated. I can tell you, as of today, DeBell is closed today and tomorrow, and the plan is to reopen on Saturday. DeBell is one of our facilities that experienced significant damage. And so we, loss of power, and, they still didn't have any internet service. And so it limits us. So again, we want to make sure that we're able to reopen our facilities in a safe fashion and ensure that our patrons have a good experience, right? We don't want to provide, subpar quality experience for our patrons.
Thank you, Marissa.
Sure.
I think I speak for all of us when I say you guys and the rest of your staff and colleagues obviously have gone above and beyond to support our residents. Especially I was talking to Chad, and he was talking about the number of calls you guys were answering, just crazy, like a call center. So it's wild. And the folks that you're dispatching out to that are out there picking up, I mean, it's just a lot. But thank you guys for everything. You keep our city safe. You're responsive. So that's what's the great part about living in a city like Burbank. So thank you.
And I thank you for sharing that kudos and praise. We'll make sure that our entire team receives that. But I do want to acknowledge the over 300 employees in Parks and Rec. We do a great job every single day, but in a time of need and crisis, it's all hands on deck. So everybody is doing, we had several staff who were assisting our admin staff with phones. I mean, we all pull together and work together. So I want to thank them and acknowledge them publicly for everything that they do. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you for that wonderful, comprehensive update. Let's move on to public comment. Now is the time for general public comment from members of the public who are here in person and wish to speak. Please present a completed yellow general public comment card to the recording secretary. Any person speaking during general public comment may address the board on any matter related to the Parks and Recreation Board. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. In order to promote fairness, please stay within your maximum allotted time of 3 minutes. A timer is available on the podium to help the speaker keep track of how much time is left. Please state your name for the record. I also encourage you to call in during the general public comment period at 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until all in-person comments have been received. For callers, please remember to lower the volume on your TV or computer and take your phone off speaker when you deliver your public comment. At this time, we'll begin with in-person comments. I do not have any cards, and there's nothing else. Okay, so we do not have any in-person comments. Is there anyone on the phone? There's no one on the phone either. Okay. Well, in that case, there's no public response to the public comment. So any written communications?
And no written communication was received.
All right. So no public comment. We'll move on from that. I'll open it up to our park board for any comments, questions, suggestions, anything you guys have that you want to bring up. Nikki.
First of all, happy, healthy New Year to everybody. And I just want to echo the comments that Chairman Cerulean, as far as our department, the entire city. We are so lucky to be self-contained like we are, with the best police, the best fire, the best park and recreation department, the best forestry, all this public works. It's been amazing that, obviously we don't know what it's like in Palisades. We don't know what it's like in Altadena. But as far as being safe, I think our entire city has come together and to make us all feel that things are being taken care of. I actually, in person, I experienced this with the Park and Recreation Department. I called about a tree down and right outside my apartment, and I got right through to Chad, and he handled it in a great way, and I want to thank him for that. Okay, is it too low? God, I got a big mouth. I didn't realize it was that. Anyway, I like I said, I want to thank Chad for the professional way that he handled it, and I'm sure he eased a lot of people's nerves getting calls. And our department has always done this, and it's just another example of what a great city and how fortunate we are to live with the services that we have. And so I know everybody's going to remember that, hopefully, when they decide that they have a gripe, thinking, well, wait a minute, maybe I better not temper that a little bit and thank the city for what they do. And also, December 7th, we had a great Christmas tree lighting. Once again, our staff did a great job in organizing it, and I want to thank them. And we mailed over 100 cards to a ship that's out in the ocean somewhere. This young man who's from Burbank that's serving, we really don't know where his ship is, but the mail did get out there. So I just want to thank everybody that came and wrote letters, and getting letters from home is a godsend. So I'm sure we a lot of service members appreciate the city of Burbank. But once again, thank everybody for what they've done during this really nerve-wracking time, and let's pray for the people that are suffering just unimaginable losses, and keep them in our prayers, and hope that these winds die down. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mickey. Appreciate it. Very, very good words. All right, so let's get into new business. So the first order of business is I'd like to introduce Miss Dina Moon to talk about the replacement of the Santa Anita Playlot Playground.
All right. Good evening, Chair Serlian and members of the board. Dina Moon, Senior Administrative Analyst with the Parks and Recreation Department. I'll be presenting the board with a brief overview of the replacement of the Santa Anita Playlot Playground tonight. The department prides itself on creating unique play areas and experiences for all park users. It's the department's goal that park amenities and playgrounds throughout Burbank have a different element, look, and feel, providing children with innovative play areas to exercise and develop other critical social skills. Understanding the value and benefits of playgrounds, the department has a replacement schedule for playground equipment citywide. The schedule reflects the age and condition of the equipment, as well as industry standards and compliance regulations. This playground equipment was last replaced in 2011. While safe, it has exceeded its useful life. For this reason, the department is proactively replacing the equipment to ensure compliance with Consumer Product Safety Commission guidelines and current American with Disabilities Act requirements. The playground is a pocket park serving the area located in the former Verdugo Lake Focus area neighborhood, where 73% of the population meet the housing and urban development low to moderate income level. Because this project will assist low to moderate income residents, the department successfully secured approximately $282,000 in Community Development Block Grants, CDBG funding. The department was also awarded approximately $300,000 in Los Angeles County Measure A grant funding to offset the balance needed to complete this project. Here are a few photos of the existing Santa Anita Playlot. In February 2023, staff initially presented the playground rendering to the board. At that time, the department planned to utilize a cooperative agreement to expedite the playground replacement. However, upon further review by CDBG staff, it was determined that conducting a formal competitive procurement process was necessary to meet the program's requirements. In May 2024, a bid schedule was prepared and advertised publicly, soliciting proposals from playground contractors. In response, the city received 4 proposals by the submission deadline. Only one of the 4 responding proposers qualified, which was Zoom Recreation, Inc. An internal panel evaluated their submission and determined, based on feedback from the community outreach for the playground, the design did not adequately address the community needs. The department worked with Zoom to revise the design with considerations of all previous public feedback. In the next few slides, you'll see the conceptual renderings of the newly designed playground. As with the existing play equipment, the new equipment will be for age groups 2 to 5 and 5 to 12 years. The new playground features a playful and unique movie theme. It includes swings, slides, and climbing components, incorporating multi-sensory play experiences and elements that cater to children of diverse abilities. Notably, the playground includes ADA-compliant equipment, ensuring wide movement routes, smooth transitions on and off equipment, wheelchair-accessible ramps, adaptive swings, sensory play elements, and ground-level activities allowing all children to enjoy. This new design incorporates rubberized flooring throughout the playground, as well as additional swings, play features, and climbing elements based on the feedback received. Staff is extremely pleased with the proposed inclusive playground design presented by Zoom, which creates a unique and fun play area for all children. And this concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Robbie?
Nina, thank you for that great presentation. Awesome, as usual. I'm guessing because of all the damage, we're going to be spending a lot more money than we had anticipated in Parks and Rec. And I was at this park today, and I think it looks amazing. There are some huge trees down. I mean, huge. So the benches in the front cannot be used. But I think that's all over our city. But the park itself looks like new. What were the community concerns that, because even the things at the top that are material, there's not a rip or tear. That spongy material so that kids, if they fall, they're falling on that. I didn't see one crack or tear. So I'm wondering, maybe this money can best be used to, our huge assistance that we've got throughout the city.
I will say this park in particular is using CDBG funding, which that is designated specifically for this project.
Oh, I see.
So a portion of that, and then the remaining funds is our Measure A, our Los Angeles County Measure A funding, which has already been reserved for this particular project. But in general, when we do our playground replacement schedule, it's based on the condition of the playground equipment, and when equipment is over a certain age, it's hard to purchase replacement parts for it. So it's important that we're able to continue to upgrade the playground equipment. Otherwise, we not all the time can receive the same replacement parts for it. So we often have to close that portion of the park playground.
Oh, don't get me wrong, this is a necessary park. This is almost all rental property with nowhere to play. So I can see this is a park that I'm guessing is widely used, but I'm telling you, the equipment really looks great. Did community members share that it looked very adaptive to me? There were lots of low things and high. There's sand. Kids do still like sand.
So, if I may, I thank you, Ms. Moon. Just to add to what Ms. Moon shared, we as a department are proactive in inspecting our playgrounds. And the 10-year mark is generally when playground manufacturers stop making parts for equipment because they're already moving on to newer, different designs. And so, as Ms. Moon mentioned, oftentimes when we start, and that's when you start seeing some of the different features in the playground itself break, and we can't get replacement parts. So one thing to note is that while the rubberized surfacing might look good, or the wind sails might look good, you have to, when you replace playground equipment, you have to replace the surfacing because you have to do the footings. So it's essentially, you kind of have to sort of start from scratch in a sense for when we replace our playgrounds. Now, absolutely correct in terms of being responsible to our taxpayer dollars. And as Ms. Moon mentioned, there are very limited park facilities where CDBG funds qualify, and this happens to be one. So we took advantage of that. And while our request, we felt that at that time it would be sufficient to cover all the costs, it wasn't. And so we looked at another funding source, which is not city general fund. So these are dollars that are earmarked to the city of Burbank through LA County, through our taxpayers. So again, we are always looking to use any restricted funds first. We always are seeking grants and other ways because we do want to make sure that we are responsible to our taxpayer dollars. So I hope that helps answer that question. But again, while we may not see the need, right? It may look great, and the fact that we keep our parks looking great and we maintain them and all that stuff. Unfortunately, things break and we may not know. And our playgrounds are inspected daily, but we do thorough monthly inspections as well. We have certified playground inspectors within our workforce, and so they start noting things. And when things are breaking, or you see they might see hairline cracks. It's things that we may not be aware of. A lot of detail in playgrounds.
Okay, well, and I appreciate that from both of you. I saw the price tag, and I saw what is probably a looming large number of expenses we weren't anticipating, and I thought, well, okay, so thanks for sharing that with me. I will say, not to add to the list, and I know this is not number one, but there are some very, very huge trees which actually have prevented you from entering this is a funny park, it's between two homes. So one where they raise doves or something, so there's a lot of birds on one side, but you can't get into the park because the trees have fallen and covered, so I had to climb over to get in to check it out. But I appreciate you setting me straight on that, Miss Andina. Thanks very much.
Of course.
Thank you, Robbie. I have a question. It might be long-winded. I'm going to try not to make it long-winded, but since we're discussing this topic, I think it's important to ask. It's kind of related to this park, but it's more of a general question as well. I've noticed when we redo parks, and again, I'm not a playground master. I don't know the size of the park and all the regulations, so some ignorance there probably. But do you guys, when you take on a new project of redoing a play structure because it's dated, do you guys have a way to go and look at, do you guys inspect for I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, who's using the playground? Is it mainly, this particular park has a lot of 1 to 5 year olds. This particular park has a lot of 6 to 12 year olds. Because I'm looking at this structure, it looks beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. But I can tell you, I have been to a lot of parks and having kids, that were toddlers and now are more in that 6 to 10 range. They say 5 to 12 on the box or whatever. But I could tell you, this is not for 5 to 12 year olds. This is for the 2 to 5 year old one is definitely good, but the other one that's not for 12-year-olds. That's for 5, 6 year olds max. So I'm just curious, do you get, I know it's a long-winded question, but I think you get the point of what I'm asking. Just curious about that.
We don't necessarily go out and survey, but many of us, we have staff in our parks daily, and many of us live here. We're out in our parks and our communities, and I can tell you that, at least from my personal observation, it depends also on the time of the day, right? So at certain times you might see younger children using the play equipment, and other times there might be older kids or a combination. So what we try to do is to be as equitable as possible with our playgrounds, so that being said, right, if there is a appropriate space, we want to have play equipment for the younger children as well as some of the older. There's families, right, that might come out to the park and they have a little one and an older child in elementary school. With regard to your comment about the older children, I don't disagree that some of our play equipment might not be as enticing or interesting for 10 to 12-year-olds, for example. While it would be probably the desire of many families that we have an awesome high slide like you see at Foy at every single park, we simply don't have the space for that type of a playground. So we do, while we've had a lot of opportunities to learn, and we do sit down and are very thoughtful in terms of what type of equipment might be interesting for for somebody that's 10 to 12. There's a lot of discussion internally. I can tell you that the employees who are on the review, who review the proposals, are either employees who have children, and oftentimes we will ask other employees, just asking them, hey, would your child be interested? So that's a way that we try to balance and ensure that we are trying to provide as much of cool features in our playgrounds as possible. But yeah, I mean, and those are ways that kids can be entertained. But it's a challenge. It's not easy. But certainly we know that there may not be the height. There might be some other like climbing things. And so we try to incorporate as much as we can and oftentimes do talk to our vendors to see what's popular, what's working. Is there something that's another park? And so we do as best we can to provide cool, entertaining, fun playgrounds for the older children. But yeah, I hope that answers that question.
No, you definitely answered it. I just wanted to put the question out there, but you more than answered the question. I know it's not easy to accommodate every single person at every single park, but I just wanted to ask the question just to get that comprehensive answer. So thank you. Any questions, comments?
You know what? If I could I wasn't going to say anything, but now that my chair has opened the door, the park that you envision is the park that's there now. Tall slide, climbing wall, 10 to 12. This is I would say, Dina, maybe, I don't know if you agree, kind of a babified version. This is a scaled-down version, activity-wise, of the park that is there now. I was just playing on it. So I don't know. I wonder, Marissa, if the board could be included in reviewing the proposals. Just more eyes on. I know, on other boards, you and I have.
Well, this is why we bring it to this board, right? One thing that I did fail to mention, I know Dina shared it during her presentation, is for this particular park, because of the community development block grant funding and Measure A, we did extensive community engagement. So we had a day on a Saturday where we invited the community. We did door hangers and invited community to come out. And so we heard directly from the people in that neighborhood what they wanted to see, and so that also was incorporated in that design. I agree that the board's input is important. I can certainly, if there are, one of the things we want to do is we want to replace our playgrounds with or better or more, right? We want to replace our playgrounds when we do playground replacements to do at a minimum a like for like, if not enhance it if we're able to. So if there is, if we're missing the mark on something, or if the board collectively you want to give us some direction, like, hey, in the future, I really encourage you guys to do more community engagement, because really these parks, every park is unique. And so while, I'm assuming people would love to have their neighborhood park with the exact features they want, if they can, our city's not that large, they can drive to another part of the city to enjoy something that may not be in their neighborhood park. And I will say every single playground, every single park is very different. It has different themes. And in fact, I encourage everybody to go to the different parks and enjoy the different playgrounds. So we want to keep that variety. We want to make sure that we're not, unintentionally not meeting the needs of the younger kids, the families with the younger kids. Again, it's a balance, which we try to do.
Thank you, Marissa. Mickey?
Yeah, and my tours along Burbank and go by the parks, at the playgrounds at Verdugo and the Santa Anita Park, and even at Foy Park, I see mostly mothers and primary, grade children there. Sure, I see the 10 to 12-year-old group, but when you get to be 10 or 12, at least in my observance, a lot of them are going to the skate park, going to the pool, playing in organized sports leagues, playing at the park after school in the gym. And like I said, I think playgrounds are more geared towards the younger age groups. And there is some consideration for the 10 to 12-year-old age groups. But I don't think that should be the emphasis. I really think that the kids just experiencing getting out, learning their body movements and things like that, the playground's perfect. And then they'll graduate on to, like I said, a Pee Wee sports program, third and fourth grade basketball. But the playground is an initial experience for the primary, at least in my times I work with the department and like I observe now. I just think that's the way things are going. And I think our department, you go into the neighborhood, we did the same thing with the skate park. We had a neighborhood meeting and got input from the people that live around Valley Park, what they wanted in a skate park. Johnny Carson Park, same thing when they did the renovation of Johnny Carson Park. That's been the ongoing philosophy of the department, getting input from the neighborhood. And that's why I think that something like this has been considered, very carefully. And you all are the professionals. And sure, if I have some input, rest assured I'll give it. But I think the playground design is beautiful. And I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of good use out of it. So anyway, that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. In the interest of time, I know we have a couple more agenda items, and we've got two folks that we need them for this last. So I just want to make sure, Dina, you got what you needed from us for that new business item. I think it looks beautiful. I just had that question. I know there were a couple comments, but I think collectively our feedback is it looks great. If there's anything else we can provide, let us know. But did you get what you needed?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very
Great.
much. I appreciate it.
Perfect. All right. Let's move on to the second order of business, Burbank Athletic Federation Board appointment. I'd like to introduce Mr. John McGinley.
All right, in quick update, McCambridge Playground, not to keep burning it, but we actually started ground over there, so that playground is hopefully going to be ready in February, and that's fully adaptive, so we're excited with that playground over there as well. But good evening, Chair and Park Board members. My name is John McGinley, Acting Recreational Manager over Sports and Aquatics. I'm here tonight to recommend the appointment to two longtime volunteers and community members to the Burbank Athletic Federation Board. The BAF Board is composed of 7 sports and civic-minded members interested in carrying out the mission and objectives of the BAF Constitution, bylaws, and regulations. Each BAF board member is appointed for a 3-year term, serving without compensation. The Parks and Recreation Board is also represented on the BAF Board as a non-voting liaison. Since January 2010, the appointments to the BAF Board have been made by the Parks and Recreation Board. Currently, there are 2 BAF Board vacancies for a term of 3 years beginning January 2025. The 30-day advertising period for these vacancies commenced on October 14th, 2024. The positions were promoted through the city's website, social media platforms, and an advertisement on myburbank.com. Additionally, an email was sent directly to all sports team managers and current BAF board members to announce the vacancies. The interview committee comprised of 2 Parks and Recreation Board members, 3 BAF board members, and city staff. We interviewed the candidates to make a recommendation to the Parks and Recreation Board for appointments. A total of 2 applications were received for the 2 vacancies. The committee interviewed applicants Glenn Hamanaka and Elise Stearns Neeson. It should be noted that Glenn Hamanaka is an incumbent BAF board member. Based on the applicant's overall qualifications in the oral interview, the committee selected Glenn Hamanaka and Elise Stearns-Neeson for appointment to the BAF board. Therefore, staff recommends that the Park and Recreation Board appoint Glenn Hamanaka and Elise Stearns-Neeson to fill the 2 vacancies for the 3-year term to the PAF board. I've had the pleasure to work with both Glenn and Elise, not only as coaches, as program participants, and they've been amazing. Both were honored with induction into the City of Burbank Walk of Fame for their exceptional volunteerism in sports and continue to make significant impact in our community. We have Glenn Hamanaka here tonight to support his appointment. Elise would have loved to be here, but she could not make it tonight. Just want to thank you, board, for your assistance with the selection process and your continued support of the Burbank Athletic Federation Board. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, John. Mickey and I were both there, and we got to meet Glenn, and well, he already knows Glenn, and Elise, and they were both very impressive. So we were unanimously on board. So do we need to make a motion for this, or? Yeah, sorry, apologies. So can we get a motion for appointment?
I motion to approve, to appoint Glenn and Elise to the BAF.
Second.
Done.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations, Glenn.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that we take a roll call vote.
Oh,
so.
yes.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, thank you. Our last new business is the Parks and Recreation calendar of board meetings. I'd like to introduce Ms. Megan Wilkie.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Megan Wilkie, Administrative Analyst for the department. I'm here tonight to discuss the Park and Recreation Board's upcoming calendar board meetings for 2025. The board meets regularly on the second Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers. Traditionally, the board has selected to go dark for 2 meetings, 1 meeting in summer and 1 meeting towards the end of the calendar year. For planning purposes, staff thought it would be appropriate to have the board discuss this matter and determine whether they wanted to have any dark meetings this year. Throughout the calendar year, City Council, as well as many boards and commissions, go dark for various reasons. In particular, meetings are canceled during summer months and our holiday seasons to provide both board members and staff with the opportunity to focus on other projects, spend time with their families, or go on a vacation. Notably, public participation in meetings can be impacted around the holidays. In prior years, the board has traditionally elected to go dark in July and December. Should it be the desire of the board to have any dark meetings, it would not impact the board's ability to conduct business, as staff would have adequate time to appropriately calendar items for board consideration. As previously stated, the board usually observes 2 dark meetings. Staff believes it would be appropriate to determine these dates in order to plan for the agenda forecast. Should the board decide to have any dark meetings, staff recommends July and December. If any time-sensitive matter arises, staff can schedule a special meeting. Thank you, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Megan. Since I've been on the board, and Maisha, I think July and December have been historically what we've done, and it seems to have worked. I just talked to Mickey. He agrees, he likes it, so I just wanted to open up to my board members to see if July and December work again for you.
If I may, Chair. July and December seemed to absolutely make sense in the past, and I agree with it for this year.
Well, as a newbie, I agree.
Fantastic. I think July and December make the most sense. It's worked well for us. I think it helps you guys with your planning, so I think we're good.
Thank you. And just to reiterate, if there is an emergency or a pressing item, we would convene a meeting as appropriate. So thank you very much.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right. Next, we'll go to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine by department staff and may be enacted on by the board by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless before the board votes on the motion to approve the recommendations. Board members, staff, or public request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Removed consent items will be discussed separately. Do we have a
I've read
Motion?
through the docket and I motion to approve the consent calendar as is.
Thank you.
Second, by Robbie.
Can I get a count?
All in favor? Aye. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chad. I don't believe we have any tabled items. Okay. Board members, any other comments you want to bring up?
I have just one comment for Ms. Garcia. So I was at the city council meeting to support Parks and Rec on the Aleppo tree issue, and at the very end of that meeting, as you know, things got tabled because a group submitted last-minute paperwork, and I'd like to know, what is it, and can we see it, and what happened? And I don't know if something else happened that I missed, but I think council was in favor of supporting the staff recommendation until it was presented that we didn't have all the information. So what happened after that?
So staff is still reviewing, our consultants are reviewing that information. We have not returned to council. Our legal, our attorneys will be providing council an update next week in a closed session or confidential memo as it pertains to pending litigation with the city. However, we will be returning to open session in the near future. And so when I have information, an update to provide the board, I will absolutely do that. We don't have a date yet, and so we're just working through some of the going through the process. But essentially what, I'm not a CEQA expert, but what I can share is that when we undergo an environmental study, we determined, consultants in the city determined that there were no potential significant impacts with the removal of these Aleppo trees. As such, we determined that completing a mitigated negative declaration was appropriate and suitable. However, not everybody agreed with that, including the petitioners that have a litigation against the city. And the information that was provided disagreed with some of our findings and were essentially looking or requesting that the city do a full EIR, environmental impact report or review, which is a more in-depth analysis. And that's what's being reviewed. The information that was provided and whether what action what's the best next step for the city. I do know that there is a low threshold where somebody can dispute an MND, the mitigated negative declaration. And so that's where we're looking at it. Like somebody can, whether it's, facts and real tangible or maybe not as substantiated evidence or information, that they could dispute the MND, which would then may require the agency to complete an EIR, which is what we're currently under review with our consultants.
So that could extend the process by some time.
Correct.
So is that information, I've been very supportive of Parks and Rec's position because I have all the information. Do you want to share that new information with the board to?
Yeah, I would be happy to if it's, because I don't want to, this topic is not on the agenda. If the board chair and the board members would like, we can certainly provide an update at the next meeting where I can provide the board a little bit more detailed information. Hopefully by then we would have a little bit more information on this to give you all a little bit more of background and let you know where we're at. Or I'm happy to have one-on-one conversations with any of you.
Well, you know, Marissa, that I want myself and our board to support Parks and Rec when that's appropriate, and certainly it's been thus far, and you have some very passionate residents on the other side. I want to be fully informed. Council members were asking me, what do you think? What's
Correct.
going on? I told you, I emailed everyone with my feelings about where we stood, and I think that's what they want from the board. So I would say the more information you can provide, the better. You know, I told you I was going to speak at that meeting, and I think it was not wasted time.
Thank you.
To focus on the safety issue. But I want to be fully informed as we go forward, because, as you know, that was a packed house with people with strong feelings, and I want to be there with my feelings and feelings of Parks and Rec.
Absolutely. So if it's okay, I will agendize this for February. I'll provide a similar report that we did to council, and hopefully we'll have more information to share at that time with what the next steps will be.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you, Robbie. Any introduction of new agenda items besides the one we just discussed? No? Okay, well, before we conclude, please stay safe. Use the resources available to you in the city that we have. You're not through it yet, but we're getting close, hopefully. So be well, be safe, and we will see you at the next meeting on February 13th. Thank you.